Today, we're going to go through those moments you'll never forget about as we dive into the top 10 God mode moments in movies. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. Coming in at number 10, and starting off our list strong, we have Wade Wilson slicing bullets with katanas in X-Men Origins: Wolverine. Now, it's no secret that this depiction of Wade didn't do so hot in its reception. While he was pretty fun to watch and the movie had its high moments, the general outlook on the cinematic release was pretty poor. However, even with that, nothing, and I mean nothing, can take away from how absolutely epic this scene was in the movie. Wolverine, Wade, and others are in an awkward situation in an elevator about to face off against the big bad. As soon as the doors open, he unsheaths his two katanas and deflects a barrage of bullets with superhuman reflexes, even managing to use the reflection of the blades to catch someone in his blind spot. Ryan Reynolds can never be replaced in his role as Deadpool, and this scene right here perfectly shows off just how good he is with the character. Number 9. Peter Tingle scene from Spider-Man: Far From Home.
You do deserve that.
At number 9, Spider-Man takes his Peter Tingle to a whole new level in his fight with Mysterio in Spider-Man: Far From Home. Peter had it more than rough in this movie, with his opponent this time being the deceptive Mysterio, especially considering that he was coming off fresh from the loss of his recent father figure, Tony Stark. It's not an exaggeration to say that this is one of the most difficult battles the MCU Spider-Man has ever faced. Well, after the purple alien with the magic glove, of course. But Peter did what Spider-Man does best, and turned that pain into stress. In this epic scene, Mysterio, as usual, clouds the area with his illusions, while training over a dozen robots with machine guns at our friendly web-slinger. So what does he do when faced with almost certain death? He closes his eyes, takes a breath, and focuses, then proceeds to absolutely wreck house with his spidey sense, taking out every robot in his way while essentially fighting blind. Can you imagine how terrifying this must have been for Mysterio, watching this superhuman kid tear through his deadly robots like tissue paper with his eyes closed? Number 8. Creed vs. Damien from Creed 3. But Apollo Creed definitely can't keep his eyes closed when fighting against his biggest opponent yet, Damien at number 8. The Creed series, directly following Rocky, is a vastly underappreciated series with some of the best choreographed and cinematic boxing scenes in movie history. Creed's big fight against his former best friend Damien is no exception to this, as the two square off against each other in the ring against a raging crowd of spectators. Creed and Damien exchange blows that could shatter a layman's jaw in an instant, fueled by underlying emotions and rage. At first, Damien seems like he's easily taking the match, but Creed regains himself and starts a combo of punches that blow Damien away, eventually seeing his opening and ending the match with one swift and heavy hit in between his arms right to the neck. This exchange was beautifully done, and the power behind each punch would even leave moviegoers recoiling in shock. Number 7. Hit Girl Goes Wild from Kick-Ass. These superheroes are just getting younger and younger, and Hit Girl is a tiny but brutal example of this in number 7. Coming from the slightly controversial but hilarious Kick-Ass movies, Hit Girl is an anti-hero assassin trained to be desensitized and focused on getting the job done. This is shown perfectly in her epic scene towards the end of the movie, where she absolutely brutalizes a floor full of people determined to kill her. Hit Girl wastes no time running into action and slicing her way through her opponents amidst a rain of bullets. It's so fun and epic watching her plow through a field of people actively shooting to kill and still coming out on top despite everything. The scene definitely goes down as one of the coolest, with Hit Girl showing just how skilled she is at her job. Number 6. Po vs. Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda.
Finally.
Po takes on Tai Lung and proves himself to be the Dragon Warrior at number 6. Kung Fu Panda is a household name and an icon series that still has relevance today. However, it's universally agreed that the first installment in the movie franchise is without a doubt the best. The movie focuses around Po, who's been randomly chosen by Master Oogway to be the Dragon Warrior, as he goes on a journey of growth and self-discovery. This all culminates in a final battle with a murderous snow leopard, who believes he should be the Dragon Warrior and not the overweight lazy panda. The scene perfectly balances humor with action, as Po realizes that his fat is not a disadvantage, but a power-up, and goes on to teach Tai Lung why he's the true Dragon Warrior. No one expected the panda to effortlessly fight the enemy that easily took out all the Furious Five single-handedly without breaking a sweat. Number 5. Iron Man Mark 1 from Iron Man 1. Next up is Iron Man and his very first attempt at a working prototype suit in Iron Man 1. Kidnapped and thrown in a dark cave, Tony Tony Stark puts that big brain to work and crafts the very first iteration of the Iron Man suit. This is something that hundreds of technicians couldn't figure out how to do with millions of dollars of tech and manpower behind them. Tony Stark figured it out in a cave, and he didn't just craft a hunk of bolts either. This Iron Man suit, also known as the Mark I, absolutely slaps, literally, and with the hulking mass of metal, Tony successfully takes out the terrorists holding him hostage like ragdolls and escapes from his prison. This moment right here kickstarted the whole MCU, and was the very first moment where Iron Man made audiences scream in joy at the cinema. Number 4. Darth Vader in the hallway from Rogue One. Menacingly coming in at number 4 is Darth Vader's hallway scene in Rogue One. The entire movie was leading up to this point, and those Death Star plans had to be revealed. The already tense moment as the fate of several lives rests on the shoulders of these rebel soldiers becomes infinitely more insane as Darth Vader's heavy breathing is heard down the dark corridor. There's immediate chaos as soon as he comes into view. The rebels unload their guns in a futile hope to bring him down, as Vader's red lightsaber swings menacingly in the dark, taking down multiple rebels with each swing. Vader has always been a terrifying opponent to go up against, but this scene really shows off why he's the most iconic villain in fiction history. Number 3. Neo versus Agent Smith from The Matrix. Now we're getting into the top contenders, and what better way to start off than with Neo's final battle with Agent Smith in The Matrix. This final scene takes all the best parts of what made the movie so good and mashes them all together into this one scene. The battle starts as Neo finally stops running and decides to stand his ground as the One. The fight switches rapidly between hand-to-hand combat and straight gunfights. The whole scene shows Neo finally coming to understand his powers and eventually seeing the Matrix for what it is, even stopping a barrage of bullets with just a gesture. This scene is an iconic moment in the whole movie, and it's just plain awesome to watch as Neo takes full control of his abilities and begins to believe. Number 2. Thor arrives to change the game from Avengers: Infinity War. At number 2, Thor slams down into Wakanda and immediately changes the tide of battle in Avengers: Infinity War. The decisive battle between Thanos' army and Earth's mightiest heroes wasn't looking so good for the Avengers. Even with the full force of Wakanda behind them, Thanos' grunts were putting in a lot of effort in bringing them down, with even Black Panther being used as a chew toy. That is, until a bright light shines right in the middle of the battlefield and Thor appears, silencing everyone. The tension in this scene can be cut with a knife, right until Bruce Banner yells, welcoming Thor to the party right as he runs up to give a lightning-charged punch at the first non-human thing he sees. Thor was portrayed perfectly in this movie, but especially in this scene, completely changing the tide of the game in the Avengers' favor with the power of a god. Number 1. Captain America vs. Thanos from Avengers: Endgame. Captain America proves himself worthy, right here at number 1 on our list in Avengers: Endgame. Of course, some of the best movies Marvel has ever produced all make it onto this list, but absolutely nothing can top this moment from Endgame. Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America come together to bring one final beatdown to Thanos. The purple warmonger flings Iron Man off like a used can of sardines, and is in the process of driving Thor's own armor into his chest. That's until Mjolnir comes flying past Thanos' head, not to Thor, but to the one and only Captain America. The boy in blue goes on to wield the hammer like a champion, clashing head-on against Thanos in a 1v1. Words cannot describe the amount of acclaim this scene got. Captain America absolutely took over the show in that moment, going up against Thanos with the hammer of a god. Even though he lost in the end, getting his shield smashed by Thanos, the guts to even attempt what he did has to be praised, and the amount of damage he did to Thanos before finally being slowed down is a true testament to why he's a super soldier. And that right there was a thrilling set of scenes. The action and tension can be felt right in your bones when a character just goes above and beyond to get the job done. And hey, you don't have to go above and beyond to hit that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoyed the content. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye!